Well, welcome everyone to the Chamber's State of the City Lunch with Mayor Kevin Fowler. We're excited to have everyone out. I know that we finally got to do some things in person, and we probably say this every time we do, but isn't it great to be in person, seeing everyone and just enjoying? So, and how about that heat? Great too, right? So, all right, before we get going, if I could have Benny Daniels please come up and do our invocation and pledge.
Join me in prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much just for your grace, even though it's not merited by us, and your long suffering and putting up with some of the things we do, Lord. And I thank you that we have the privilege to live in these United States, and especially in this particular area. I thank you for those who have served us well and continue to serve us. We always thank you for our first responders and what they do on our behalf in taking care of us and protecting us. As we go forward, Lord, I just pray that you would continue to bless this group, bless these people as individuals, as business people, that we may prosper, and Lord, that we would give you the honor and the glory for all that happens in your name. And Lord, we again just thank you for loving us. This I pray in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Would you join me in the pledge? Stand and join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, again, thank y'all so much for coming out. Again, just so great to see everyone. My name's Brady Hill. I'm the secretary for the Rockwall Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. Unfortunately, our president, Brandon, couldn't be here. Otherwise, you'd be hearing from him. So unfortunately, you're stuck with me. So I would like to thank a few people before we have Darby come up and give us some chamber announcements. First off, just a quick thank you to our sponsors. Thank you for all those who've sponsored tonight. Our board of directors, our ambassadors, and our strategic alliance partners, and then as well as the chamber staff for putting on this amazing event. We can give them a round of applause, please. And then we also have some elected officials with us here today. If you could stand when I call out your name. I've got John Vick with Senator Bob Hall's office, County Judge David Sweet, Rockwall County Commissioner Cliff Sevier, with the City of Rockwall, Mayor Kevin Fowler, Councilman Benny Daniels, Councilman Trace Johansson, Councilman Clarence Jorif, and with the City of Heath, Councilman John Beeman. Did I miss anyone there? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, and if I could please have have Darby Burke please come up and give us some announcements of what's going on with the chamber.
Wow, look at this room. It's so exciting to see such a great group of people supporting our first luncheon back in 2021. There is no place like home, Rockwall County, USA. For those of you that attended our annual banquet and meeting, you know that that was our theme for the event. And we still believe that that rings true today. We are in a unique community with a lot of great businesses participating to drive our economy. The Chamber continues to work our mission to make every day extraordinary for business while maintaining the ideal hometown feel. We are so excited today to welcome new City of Rockwall Mayor Kevin Fowler, our City Council, and our city leaders here today. There's no doubt that Rockwall's rebound is no accident. It's through careful leadership and collaboration through our county with leaders who work hard for us each and every day. Thank you for the work that you do. It's really hard to believe that we're at the halfway mark of 2021. So far, the Chamber has hosted our annual meeting and awards banquet. We had the chance to highlight what area leaders have gone through over the last year and some tough decisions they had to make. We also got to feature some amazing organizations in our community that continue to drive the local economy and make a difference, not only in the Chamber, but in our community. So congratulations to all the nominees and winners from that event. We've also welcomed about 120 new partners over the course of last year in 2020 and up to date, year to date here in 2021. So we've listed them on today's program. I really challenge you and hope that you will look at that list and do business with someone on that list. Make a choice to support their organization, and we hope that they'll support yours as well. As your visitor center, we've also welcomed hundreds of visitors and people relocating to our community over the last 6 months. It's great to be able to show them what businesses and resources we have for them here in our community. We also get to share a little bit about the culture and the spirit of Rockwall with them when they come to visit us. We also hosted our annual Party and Caddyshack golf tournament last week. The first day with no rain in quite some time, so that was a great day, a great event back. The Chamber's also brought you some new programming this year with our Keys Professional Development Series. We are also proud to have launched a community gift card. It's branded Love Local. Your business can participate at no fee, and everyone in this room is the perfect consumer for this card. They make great gifts, good employee incentives, even self-purchase. There's some great offers that are in the portal for people, discounts and freebies. So if you want to be on that community gift card, let Jocelyn in our office know. We want to make sure our dollars stay here. We can sign you up to be a part of that. There's actually already dollars floating around that are to be used, so don't leave money on the table. We've been giving away sponsored dollars from our annual meeting. We've done some other initiatives to give away those dollars. So there is actually money floating around out there. I hope that you'll get your business on the list today. We're all going to need to stick together in making the choice to shop and love local. As we see the I-30 expansion project come to fruition, it's really going to be a choice. Our amenities that we enjoy are a direct result of our tax dollars. So I want you to remember that, making that choice to stay local, love local. We have some signature events coming up. Fun to get to announce that. August 4th, our Breakfast for Champions, our annual Rockwall ISD new teacher and employee welcome breakfast at Rockwall Heath High School this year. Excited to say that is in person. Also, September 24th, we have the Iron Clay Shoot, our annual clay shoot that the Chamber hosts. September 24th, please see Miranda if you're wanting to get in on that event, because we really are almost sold out of teams. We've got over 20 teams already participating. Also, happy to announce our Off the Clock networking is back at the end of this month, June 30th. For those of you who may be seasoned partners here with our chamber, you may have attended that event. It is a very casual, open networking event held at the Hilton in their C&B Scene Lounge. So I hope you'll make plans to join us on the 30th. Also, our affiliates have been up to a lot of great things. We have our Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance. They keep offering great programming. We're meeting tonight, actually, at 5 o'clock at the Hyatt Place. We have Jesse Ladd, who's the owner of Living Magazine here in our community, and I think they produce about 20 other editions in other communities. So he's going to share non-negotiables in business tonight with the group. Our Professional Women's Alliance is also up to something fun. Next month, they're hosting La Ti Da Christmas in July, where we're going to go and host a shopping event that will end with a mixer as we support our beautiful historic downtown square, the merchants on the square. The ladies who register to participate in this will actually be given $25 in downtown dollars to spend that day with our local businesses. We've got our Senior Services Alliance. They continue to host great monthly meetings, topics that are meant to enhance the lives of our area seniors. So if your business caters to our senior citizen population, please let Sean in our office know you want to be a part of the group, attend the meetings. It's a great group. We also have our Young Professionals of Rockwall group. They are back in action and planning their annual fall conference, going to be called Go for the Goal this year on November 4th at Fate City Hall. We've got a great lineup of some hometown, local area celebrity athletes that are going to be talking about drive, determination, and success. I know it'll be a great event. They've planned, I think this might be 5th or 6th year. Not sure, Sean. 5th? Okay, great. 5 years. That's been a fun event. Leadership Rockwall. You'll see applications going live, hopefully mid to late next month for a September kickoff. Great program. It's one of our flagship programs in this chamber. It's about an 8-month commitment, but very well worth it. If you'd like some information on that, please come see me or see any alumni that are in the room today. We have several. I also want to recognize the class of 2020. I know some of you are here today. Would you stand up if you're in the leadership class of 2020? Woo-hoo. This class got thrown a pretty big curveball during COVID, guys. They had planned a community event, hoping for 1,000 volunteers and 100 community service-driven projects. Obviously, that could not happen in April of 2020. So the class got it in gear. They finished the year strong. They hosted a day of refreshing, kind of renovating and rejuvenating race clinic here in our community. So really proud of that group. They took things in stride. It was obviously a very big change with COVID and not being able to have our programming in person. But what a great class it was. They're listed in our program today, so I hope that you'll congratulate them on finishing out their year as well. Lastly, I just really want to thank you all for being here. We have a lot of new faces in the crowd today. It's very exciting to see when we get new folks in the group. I really challenge you seasoned partners to go meet some people, meet at least 2 people before you leave here today, because we definitely have enough new folks in the crowd that that's possible. Again, I challenge you to do business with them. That's what makes this community go around, is spending our money here locally with each other and like-minded businesses. I certainly want to thank our sponsors of today's event. We can't do these without you, so thank you very much. And certainly to everyone who's chosen to put us on your calendar today to attend this luncheon as we welcome our new mayor, Kevin Fowler. So thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Darby. So I have the pleasure today of introducing our guest speaker. So I'll get started by letting you know Kevin Fowler started his singing career in 1999. And, sorry, wrong biography. Sorry, I know I'm not the first one to have made that joke.
First time I've heard it.
Yeah, I'm sure. So
Today.
yeah. Mayor Kevin Fowler has lived here since 2000. He's been active in Rockwall County, serving on leadership roles in a number of different boards and city-appointed commissions, including the Rockwall EDC, the Rockwall Business and Education Committee, of course, a lot of time with the Chamber of Commerce, with Lake Point Hospital, the YMCA, many other locations, and that's not even to mention his time on the Rockwall City Council. He was elected to City Council in 2015, re-elected in 17 and 19. He served as Mayor Pro Temp from 18 to 19 and then again from 20 to 21. And as most of you probably know, was recently elected as the mayor here in Rockwall. So Kevin also has been here in the banking industry. He's been in banking for 30 years. He currently serves as the regional president of Lakeside Bank. He is married to the lovely Amanda. Thanks for coming, Amanda. They have and has 4 children: Jake, Davis, Grace, and Dawson, and a granddaughter, Ryder. If we could, please give it up for Mayor Kevin Fowler.
Yeah, I'd like to think that you're all here just to see me, when I know you're just ready to get out of the house and get something to eat. So I am not the least bit fooled why you're here. Although I was surprised, the last time I was here, I was able to walk through the door and just walk in. Now I feel like I'm checking a kid in at church, and I have this little name badge now, and I don't know if I can go to the bathroom or I can go, but look, I've got my name badge, I've got my vaccine card I can show you. I don't know what I need to get in this place. So, we're going to talk about the city of Rockwall today, and I'll tell you, if you like what you hear and you like the decisions that we've made, it is all me. If you don't like what you hear, I'm sorry, it's these guys right here. It's Trace and Benny, and yeah, completely threw you under the bus. It's exactly right. All right, let's get started here on our first slide. And I've got the clicker here. You know, you said I have a clicker. You didn't tell me how to use it. I guess it's this arrow here. Now, this is a State of the City address, and I'll tell you, the state of the city in my 1 month of being here is very good. I don't think I've burned anything down or broken anything in the month that I've served. I was teasing about the council that I serve with. I'm very fortunate, very lucky to serve with this group of men and women. And some of them are here. You saw them earlier, Benny, Trace, and Clarence.
And Clarence being our newest elected, I turned out of place, is it place 6? Place 3? The 3? Can't remember what place I was in, place 3. And it opened up and Clarence ran and was elected. Of course, I had a very hard-fought race. And I didn't have an opponent, so I had to cancel out my wife's vote, who I think probably voted against me, and then I voted for me. And I needed just one more, and so I made it just by one vote, I think. But I know I serve with some great folks, and Benny, Anna, Clarence, Trace, Dana, and John. If you haven't been to a council meeting, they can be entertaining at times, and you should come. Sometimes we agree, a lot of times we don't, and I emphasize that it's okay to vote your conscience and vote no, and vote who your constituents are, because that's what makes us so good. We have some of the best city leadership, I think, around. Now, I haven't worked with any other city leadership, but I know that my experience with who we've got with Mary Smith and Joey Boyd, Joey's right here, and then we have some of our directors that are here, city staff are all here, and it's those men and women that make this job so much easier, because when emails and phone calls come in, all I have to do is send an email, make a phone call, and say, hey, can you help me with this? And you have an answer, and it's professional, and it's customer centric, it's customer service oriented. And so it's really, to me, that's one of the best cultures that you can have, and so important. So really, between the council members that I serve with and city staff, it makes this job so much more easier. And fun stuff. Now, the numbers. And that's on both sides. So you can see the numbers. You know we've grown. You can't help but know that we've grown. And you think about it when you're sitting at a stoplight at Ridge Road or sitting in traffic, you know in your gut that you've grown. Well, here's the numbers. So from 2009 to 2010, we've grown 28%. We're at 44,000 and change, 45,000. The new census numbers haven't come in. I thought that we would break the 50,000 mark. Mary Talkins said probably not. We'll be at 48, 49 is kind of the guess. But we're right at 50,000 in population, and that's just the city. That's not the county. If you throw the county in, David, it's probably about double that. We'll be right at 100,000 countywide. Our tax base, and this is important because it's what drives our budget. So you can see the tax base has grown. If you've got your assessed value, we don't set your assessed value. We're just one part of the math equation. We're the good side of the math equation because we do good things with the budget. So that somebody else, if you want to know who those people are, I can tell you who to go yell at on the residential assessments. Non-residential, you see, has grown 79%. That's important to our budget, important to you as taxpayers, because we try to manage that. So the more that we have industrial and commercial base, that's the less that you have to pay as a citizen. So we really manage that. When we try to keep it 70-30 residential, non-residential, 65-35, really 65-35 is probably closer to that split. And when we look at developments and things that are coming in, we really try to hold to those numbers, and we want to know how it moves those numbers, because it's important that we keep the tax burden off of us, me. I mean, I write the same checks that you do. So $6 billion in assessed value equates to a pretty good chunk of our budget. Sales tax has grown 82%. That's important because the more sales tax we have, that takes the burden off us on our budget. Again, it's less taxes that we have to pay for city government. So that $18 million it's an important number. I mentioned the tax rate. I said we're just one side of the equation. We're the tax rate equation. We don't do the assessed value. We do the tax rate. Lowest rate in 15 years. We have a 7-year trend of lowering the taxes. Now, we all know as assessed values go up, you're paying about the same in taxes, but we don't have to do that. We can maintain the same tax rate and say, we didn't raise taxes, we kept the tax rate the same, and rake that money in, but we don't. We budget very conservatively in the city. And in we're in the middle of budget right now, and just in talking very, very preliminarily, it looks like we're gonna be able to continue our trend and make it 8 years and lower the tax rate. Now, don't hold that to me, and I'm gonna have a George Bush moment. You said no new taxes. It's just looking like that's what we wanna be able to do. So, hey guys, sorry if you've had to cut staff. I'm sorry. I said it. It's all on me. Having a conservative budget is important, especially last year. So last year at this time, February, March, April, we were sitting around going, what's gonna happen to our budget? Because when we budgeted, things were great, things were growing, economy was thriving, and then COVID hits, and everything shuts down, and there's no travel, and people aren't shopping, and they're online. And so we sat back and said, are we gonna be able to make our budget? What happens if we don't? And we started making those plans, but because we were conservative, we still we exceeded our budget. So we met our budget. So it's important that we do that. Just because we have the dollars coming in doesn't mean we have to spend them. So it's a great place to be whenever you have a budget like that. Talking about the budget, I wanted to talk about police and fire just briefly and highlight them, and Chief Guerin is right here in the front. Right now, we only have one vacancy, and is it still one, or we're about to?
Getting close.
We're getting close. So we have, as of now, that's an accurate statement, but we're getting very close. Chief Guerin's done a great job with the department. If I did my numbers right, they're about 40% of our budget. So it's a big chunk of what we do. And then the fire department, as you know, we were a volunteer fire department. I've always said, even though we were a volunteer fire department, we have been a professional fire department. So it's not guys like me that are hauling hoses around up there. These guys are trained firemen who are responding. So even though it was volunteer, it was professional. Last year, we applied for a grant. That grant allowed us to bring 12 new firefighters in. We would have never been able to do that with our budget. We would have dinked them on 1 or 2 or 3 at a time to fill our staff in. We got this grant, SAFER grant, it stands for something, I don't know what it is, but SAFER grant, and we were able to hire these 12 guys. If I remember correctly, their training, when they were going through their training, was right in the middle of a big snowstorm. And so I saw some pictures. I went to their graduation. They had pictures of them doing burns and all geared up in the snowstorm. So those guys were like at boot camp, going through fire training. Other heroes I wanted to talk about, and Amy and her staff during the snowstorm. Those guys work around the clock, and they're really the unsung heroes. They were the ones that were putting on the city roads. They weren't responsible for the TxDOT roads, but they were making sure that the streets were passable. I lived at the bottom of a hill, and I could get to the top of it because there was whatever you put on it, dirt, salt, whatever. I was able to get up and go into work and go up to City Hall and do what we needed. But those guys were behind the scenes, and they worked around the clock during the snowstorm. Through that, you had sewer. Your sewer never stopped. Your water never stopped. We had nothing to do with electricity. Again, go yell at somebody else. And not making light. I know that was not a pleasant time. But these guys kept our roads and streets, sewer and water going for us, and really were the unsung heroes that you didn't see during that. The Rockwall Economic Development Corporation, I don't know if you know how that organization works. The EDC is funded by sales tax dollars. So a portion of sales tax goes to fund the EDC. They then take and offer incentives, not tax abatements. We're not bringing these companies in and saying, hey, you come to us, you don't have to pay taxes. They got to pay taxes. But we will offer them incentives. So EDC will go and buy a chunk of land. They'll put in the infrastructure. They'll put in the fiber, the curbs, gutters, water. So we can go to a company and say, hey guys, if you come to Rockwall, you can start building. It's shovel ready. You can start building now, and we'll even give you the land. And so it makes a huge impact on their budget, so then they can come in and start their building. And the return of that is we get big buildings with a lot of business and personal property in it that is then taxed. So we're talking about the non-residential tax side. That's what we're talking about. Typically, it's a 2-year payback. I haven't been to the EDC meetings. I'm not on the board, but when I was on the board, our benchmark was about a 2-year, and I saw Rick in here earlier. Rick, is that still about, I don't know where he, oh, there you are. Is that still about 2 years, 1.5 years? On some projects, it may exceed that, just depending on what the project is. And so it's important for the board, we just don't take everybody who walks in and says, hey, give me some of that free land, I want to build something out here. We want to make sure that those companies are viable, that they will be around, and that it's the kind of industry that we want. I remember several years ago, probably before I was on the EDC board, a big water company wanted to come in that took water, just distilled it, purified it. But it would be such a strain on our city infrastructure that we said thanks, but no thanks, and moved on. So not every business that comes in is the right fit, and there are certain ones you see, the food manufacturer, aerospace, energy, clean manufacturing is really what we're looking at. The K.E. Andrews building, if you've driven past it, is just a phenomenal building. That was made possible partly because of the EDC and the incentives that they offer. So it's an 80,000 square foot office building. And I tried to look this morning, it's not on the tax rolls yet. I don't know what the valuation of that is going to be, but they're going to pay a bunch in ad valorem taxes, and we get a portion of those taxes to help with our city budget. So that's just one of many projects that these guys do really below the radar, behind the scenes, and maintaining our tax base and keeping it very, very manageable. The Discovery Art Project, this has been going on. It's been in some form of either moving forward or stagnation for a number of years. Gosh, probably 10 or 11, 12 years. You may have seen this statue. They're in banks and businesses around town. There were a number of them that were sold that were to raise money. A local artist, a guy named Jim Bryant, designed it. It was to celebrate history, and the goal was to then create a large-size bronze. Give me that water right there. I'm getting a little bit dry. My lovely wife, Amanda. But it was to recognize art in history. And so through this fundraising, they wanted this life-size statue to put in somewhere in Rockwall. Well, right before I was sworn in, I was just sworn in May, so it's been relatively new. Lauren Lichty, a local attorney, former Mayor Heath, came to me and said, hey, we really want to get this thing back going. What was important to me, my daughter's on the Historical Foundation board, and that's been important to our family. So we sat down, Lauren and Mary and Joey and some of us sat down and said, what can we do to get this moving forward? And so that was back in April, maybe, March, April, that we had that meeting. Sworn in May, had the first meeting. Second meeting, this last meeting that we had, City Council unanimously approved the budget for the city to pay for the landscaping, the acquisition, the foundry cost to get this life-size historical founders discovery art project. So it's going to be, I say life-size, it's going to be 130%. So I guess it's perspective. When you're looking up at it, the perspective makes it look 100%. It's 130%. It's going to go in the courthouse. We've been working with Judge Sweet and the commissioners about acquiring the easement. It will be on the southeast corner, so kind of looking on the south side towards Zanata is kind of where we'll be. Then the city will maintain the maintenance of it. It's going to be a phenomenal statue. I think that will have, because it's the number one question people want to know. You know, Rockwall. You know, tell me about the Rockwall. You know, they can go and see this very visually. You know, here's how it happened. These guys were digging a well and they hit these rocks. So it's going to be a fun, really cool thing. Our goal is to have it debuted or unveiled on Founders Day next year. So I think the Foundry had a gut check when we said we needed it done. The artist Jim Bryant emailed me this week and said he is going to be on them to make sure that we hit our target. So anyway, that's something fun to look forward to. Flagpole project. This was something that Councilmember Daniels was important to him, and again last meeting. This has been a long project because we're working with TxDOT, and as you know, TxDOT moves super fast. It's been like, I I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, and even through that, I know Benny sat through meetings. I know that I sat through some meetings with TechStop, Zoom meetings, which I absolutely adore. But it's just been a slow-moving process. Well, finally, this last meeting, we approved, again, you asked me to approve this budget to put this flagpole on I-30. And when I say flagpole, I mean, it's gonna be the mother of all flagpoles. It's big. So I'm kind of a visual person, so I've gotta think of, so think of a football field, not long ways, not this way, but wide. It will, if you lay that flagpole across the field, it would go across the field and another 30 feet. It's a big flagpole. It's like, it's 60% of the height of the Statue of Liberty. So Statue of Liberty is 306 feet tall, 300 and some change tall. This is 190 feet tall. So does that give you perspective? It will be taller than Twin Tower. So when you come in, you're gonna see a flagpole with a big flag. Is it 80 foot?
80 feet wide.
80 feet long, wide. So it's not just a flagpole. I mean, it is the mother of all flagpoles. So when people come in to Rockwall, they are going to know that we are a patriotic, God-fearing, God-loving city. And if there's any doubt, just go look at our BAF. I promise you my wife will say, really shouldn't have said that. But I really didn't say it. Rockwall, the destination for fun. I'm sure you guys have been to these places, the harbor, San Jacinto Plaza, historic downtown. We have some great parks. Those are important to us. In fact, my wife serves on the park board. I didn't appoint her. She wanted to, and Mayor Pruitt at the time put her on the park board. And now Travis has his hands full, just like I do. Again, I'll probably say you really should have said that. Really, why did we invite my wife to this? She knew what she was getting into. We are the free live music capital of North Texas. Now, we wanted to be the live music capital of North Texas, but the legislature and Senate, going through that process several years ago, put the stipulation that we had to be the free live music. Well, that's fine. What we do is funded through the city budget. So we do more than 150 live music events. I think I went down and testified in front of one of the city committees or one of the House committees, and when you tell them how many live musics little old Rockwall, Texas is doing, it was interesting. So I'm sitting there talking to these guys, and they could really care less because this is not really that important to them. And they're kind of looking down and doing whatever. But you tell them, we do 150 live music events. They looked up and took note and asked, then they were engaged. So it's a big deal how many live music events that we do, then how many are live. So San Jacinto Plaza, I think they do those Friday, Saturdays. Concert by the Lake has 15 concerts on Thursday nights. We have special events. We bring in great artists for Founders Day. So we have a lot of live music for you guys to take advantage of. Great Parks Department, I mentioned that a little bit earlier ago. If you haven't seen Yellow Jacket Park, probably one of the cooler parks that we have. It's barrier-free, so I mean it is open and easy for kiddos who have any kind of disability to access. What's even more cool is how we fund these. So we get developers when they come in to give us the land. That's part of the deal is that they have to give us parkland, and then we apply through Texas Parks and Wildlife and get grants, and then they improve them. So parks at Breezy Hill, Stone Creek, the boat ramp at 66 were all improved through grants from Texas Parks and Wildlife. It didn't come from taxpayer dollars. So again, managing the budget as tightly and conservatively as we can. I almost took this slide out because I kind of don't want you to know about it. It is the newest, I think it's still the newest one that came into our system, Pettinger Nature Preserve. The Pettingers donated 25 acres, 26 acres of land, and they put the stipulation that I'm going to donate it to you, but you can never develop it. It can't become sorry chief, can't be the new police station, can't be a new fire station. It has to be maintained in a very natural state. And so Travis Sales, our parks director, then got it, and there's a 1 mile walking path through there. When we opened and dedicated it, I was out there that day, and Texas Parks and Wildlife, who we worked with in developing what we were gonna do with it, was out there, and we were walking, he said, just stop and don't say anything. And this park it's behind the North CVS, so kind of thing, right just south of the shores. So it's not like it's out in the country. I mean, it's right here. And all you could hear were birds and insects, and I mean, it's a very peaceful, quiet nature preserve, which is what it was intended to be. But it's really, really cool. There's like I said, there's a 1 mile trail, there's a butterfly garden. They're gonna put an education center so kids can go out there, and then they can do educational programs. Some of one of the things I remember, I don't know what the name of the tree is, but they call it the toothache tree. It's a very interesting tree. Once you see one, you'll always know what it is. But Native Americans, when they had toothaches, it has antiseptic properties. Sorry, Danette, they took away your business, but they'd take this bark. That's why I haven't been in. I just been chewing on tree bark to make my teeth not hurt. But they break off part of this bark, and it had antiseptic qualities. And there are a number of those out there on this land. So really a cool place. So pay no attention to the adults, but look at that cute little girl named Ryder right there. If you've been anywhere, I'm sure you've been to our historic downtown. Once we redid those roads, closed in San Jacinto, if you're new to the city, where we're standing right there, in a very distorted, funny looking way, it was like a funhouse mirror. That was a through street, and so cars went through. Previous councils, through a bond project, closed that off, made it San Jacinto Plaza, put in a stage. Those businesses are thriving down there now. We have a very active downtown merchants association. They host events and work with the city and Bethany, who's on staff at the city, to host Christmas and 4th of July, and they just do a great job of promoting downtown, and it's one of our favorite places. Farmers Market, we're usually there. Every Saturday morning we'll drive or walk up and walk through and grab breakfast. Like we said earlier, they have music there in the plaza. My son, who grew up in Rockwall and is now 26, 27, it's been several months, he's like, I don't really want to move back to Rockwall. It's just not cool. We were sitting out one Saturday in San Jacinto Plaza, was hanging out, and he goes, this is pretty cool. And 2 weekends ago, he moved back. So he's back in town. So, which I don't know if that's good or bad to have your kids that close. The harbor, as you may remember, it's been 10, 12 years ago. The harbor was a public-private venture between the city and private developer. Not gonna lie, it's had some hard times. I think we're through that. Mayor Pruitt was instrumental in working to get that through, and city council with working with those guys and putting some pressure on them, and actually through our representatives in Washington to help get that out of the mire of bankruptcy and conservatorship. It now seems to be thriving. The new company, they've made investments. They've renovated, their parking improvements, new condo developments are going in, very focused on entertainment and dining. It really is much better than it was 5, 6 years ago. The I-30 project, you may have heard about it. Again, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is not gonna be fun. But once we're through it, it's going to be well worth it, much worth the pain and the dirt and the dust and the inconvenience and the lines that we're going to have to go through to get to the other side of it. It's basically a project on I-30 from Bass Pro to the Hunt County line. So it will span the entire of Rockwall County. So this view is right at horizon. So if you take in your mind, you can look out and think of a new 3-lane service road, bridge to the outside of those trees will go on that side and then on the side that you can't see. So there'll be 2 new 3-lane service roads, so when there's a wreck on the interstate, there will be alternative means to get around it. And there's a wreck about every 4 hours on the interstate, I think. Where we're standing, from that picture on Horizon, that will be completely reconfigured. So that gets mired in traffic. So the entrance, the access ramps onto the interstate will be much improved. And in fact, I don't have the website, but you can Google it and find this project. They do a really great flyover. They start over at Bass Pro and they go, and you can kind of see exactly what it looks like from a computer flyover rendering. It's really, really cool. Adding roads, adding lanes to the 3 that are there, so there'll be an extra lane on either side, so it'll be a 4-lane interstate there. So when the interstate's closed down, you'll have 4 lanes closed instead of 3, I guess is what's going to happen from that. But then you'll have the service roads to go. You have the service roads to go around, and then the service roads through town are going to be redone. So it's a big project, and it is going to impact every single person who comes through and to Rockwall. To that end, we've been working with Lori, and that's one of the things that we've got to do, at least in my tenure in the next 2 years, is to make sure that we let people know outside of our city that we're still open for business. Again, we talked about the retail tax base. It's important that people come and spend money. We want people coming to Costco. We want them coming to Walmart. We want them coming to your small business, because if we don't, then that dries up. And so one of the number 1 things that I laid out that I wanted us to do is to make sure that we work with the chamber and that we're very, very thorough in making sure people know that we are open for business, even though it's going to be dirty and dusty, and it's not going to be very much fun. And then finally, volunteers are vital. What we do, we're not paid, the city staff is paid, but everything that you see done, planning and zoning, parks, the butterfly brigade, all these folks volunteer. And so if you want to get involved in your city and have a say in what we do and not be on social media just complaining about it all the time, come join us. Come be a part of the solution. Come be part of the decision making. You'll work with some of the smartest, brightest, best people around, and it's really fun and rewarding. But we could not do, in fact, if I started to go through and I was going to write down all the different ones, different organizations where you can really volunteer. I'm like, my Lord, we'll be here for the next 2 hours, me trying to go through all that. You can apply online. The website it's a great website, easy to use. Any questions, you can contact me. My phone number, my cell number's there. Any council member, Christy, any staff member can help you with how to do that. So that's what we have. That's the state of the city as I know it right now. All the city staff's right here, so for all we know, it could be burnt down when we walked out. We're all in this room, so I haven't heard any phones or nobody's run out yet, so I think we're still good. So I will hesitantly take some questions, as long as they're easy questions, and reserve the right to say I don't know the answer. So, but yeah, any questions from you guys? Amy, how long is it? 5 years?
Each section's 5 years.
Yeah, each section's 5 years. So they won't do it all at once. So they're going to start at Bass Pro and they'll start working their way over. Is how that's going to work. So, but I'll tell you, it is probably the most fast-tracked project that's this major that we've really seen. I don't know if there's been a faster one as far as funding. I mean, funding is always an issue. They got funded, they got engineered, they're doing the right-of-way acquisition, the utilities. I mean, that thing it's flying along. So yeah, it's going to be a long project. We may not. Some of us may not be here when it's done. Is it later this year or next year?
The first section from Bass Pro to Dow Rock's already started. From Dow Rock to 205 September, it's letting in September of 2022, the same all the way to the county line. So those 2 sections will overlap.
Did y'all hear that?
Also, you talked about the fact that it's going to be 5 years, and let's make sure we're clear. It's not going to take 25 years. 20, 30,
That's a very good point. Sometimes math is tricky, isn't it, David? Yes?
What's
gonna be taken off. It's Mayor Pruitt's, it's Jim Pruitt's building. It wasn't prepared correctly, to begin with, and so that the last arts meeting, they're just gonna take it down, restore it back, and that was Jim's preference. We could have put something back up or work with him, and that was their preference. He and Kendra just decided to bring it back to its original. So, yeah, we're getting bids now to figure out how to do that, or actually, I think Jim and Kendra are getting bids, and then the city, and through the arts funds, will pay to take that down. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It was a great little mural, but it just didn't stick pretty good. Anybody else? Well, it's pretty easy. Well, thank y'all. I'm going to run for y'all. I think it's going to be hard. No, I'll be around. If you have any questions, you're welcome to come ask
Thanks so much, Mayor Fowler. That was great information. I know I probably, like many of y'all in here, love living in this community. I grew up here. My wife and I each did. And there was no doubt in my mind where I was going to live, and I love it here. Wouldn't live anywhere else in the world, and I think a lot of what Mayor Fowler went through is proof of that. So it's absolutely a great community. So I want to say thank you again to our sponsors, to the chamber staff, and for everyone for coming out. We do have a quick drawing. It is a Rockwall chamber or Visit Rockwall bag, and has a bunch of different swag and local swag and things like that. Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So goes to Mike Mishler. Yeah, Mike. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right, well, that is all we have for today. Thank y'all so much for coming out.